Good morning, everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here this morning to welcome you all to our showcase for the class of 2019. And this is one of the largest gatherings, I think, in the year, if not the largest gathering that brings together many of the stakeholders in the startup ecosystem, and a particular welcome to all of our entrepreneurs who have taken the plunge and have become the part of this great class. We've had great fun in Enterprise Ireland working with you all and watching the concept grow from an initial idea right through to an investment that's been able to attract other capital into it. I'd like to particularly welcome all the representatives from the ecosystem, from the investors, advisors and people who are all a really important set of partners both for us in Enterprise Ireland and for all of the entrepreneurs in the room. Just from an Enterprise Ireland perspective, earlier last month we announced the results for 2019. Again, we saw record results from Irish companies in terms of the level of employment in companies growing to 222,000, which is the highest level of employment in the history of the agency. So it's fantastic, and particular growth came in sectors such as clean tech, life sciences and fintech, many of whom are the sectors that a lot of you have invested in. We're in the last year of our 2017-2020 strategy in Enterprise Ireland, so we have continued the work we've been doing on the diversification agenda, and that has been particularly important, particularly in the context of Brexit, which hasn't gone away. It took a little bit of a breather. But if you go back 10 years ago, 45% of our exports went into the UK market. Today, that is 33%. And over that 10-year period, we have grown our exports into the UK by 50%. But what we've succeeded in doing is growing the exports in the rest of the world at a faster rate. And that's been a very specific policy from the agency, a particular focus on the Eurozone, with a view to trying to have a mindset shift from our clients to thinking of the Eurozone as an extension of the domestic market, as opposed to the UK being an extension of the domestic market. And it isn't that we will be walking away from the UK market. It is our number one market. It will continue to be our number one market. But what we need to make sure that we are having is a good spread and a balanced portfolio of markets. And I think we are making great progress in that regard. The one thing that any of my colleagues, and I know that some of my colleagues from overseas are here this morning, but the one thing that differentiates success in the overseas market from lack of success is the focus on innovation. And that's why the class of 2019 is so exciting from an Enterprise Ireland perspective, because it is the focus on innovation which really makes a difference. And that's what at the end of last year, we developed a new innovation strategy, and that is about putting a further focus on innovation within the existing clients, trying to increase the number of companies undertaking innovation, and then us being able to support clients in terms of increasing their innovation capability and also the level of collaboration between companies on innovation. Many of you have mentioned to me this morning our Women in Business Action Plan, which we launched in January. And again, we've always had a specific focus on female entrepreneurs as part of our HPSU and our wider startup agenda. What this is doing is really trying to broaden that focus in terms of trying to increase the level of participation of women in middle and senior management within companies, the number of women attending the programmes that we're running within Enterprise Ireland. We've introduced a new key manager grant, and that is available on a part-time basis to take on key managers, and we think that'll be particularly interesting for females returning into the workplace, and will address the biggest issue that many of our clients are talking about, which is access to talent. So it's really about trying to encourage as much talent into the market as possible. Looking ahead for the rest of this year, and one of the things that we're delighted to be launching this morning is the formula for high potential startups, and that's Enterprise Ireland's plan in terms of how we can work effectively to make sure that we are doing as much as we possibly can to work with entrepreneurs across the country to maximise their impact. One of the other interesting features in the last 12 months in particular has been the Disruptive Technology Fund. And a number of people in the room this morning have talked about the funding that SMEs and startups in particular have been really strong at attracting disruptive technology funding into companies, which is obviously really important both in terms of extending the level of funding and the ability to do really deep research. And that's a fund that Enterprise Ireland runs on behalf of the department. And again, it's worth having a look at for any companies with deep technology needs. So I know there's a lot of agenda to go through this morning. Before I finish, I'd just like to thank Jenny and the team from HPSU. A lot of work goes into working with all of the class of 2019 in order to support them. And also, a day like this doesn't happen without a lot of planning in advance. So I'd just like to congratulate the team. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And there's a great buzz. It was almost a pity to start the formal proceedings of the morning because there was so much networking going on. This is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to meet each other. It's the first time that we bring together that full class of 2019. It's also a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to meet with other people within the ecosystem that are relevant to you. So I hope you have a good morning. We're going to get an opportunity to hear from the experience from others. And it isn't that the people who are sitting on the panel have made that many mistakes, but what we actually want to make sure is everybody's really happy to share their experience, to try to shorten the learning curve for the next generation of startups. And that's what today is all about, helping you to get the pieces, the support that you need in order to do that. And then finally, I see Declan Hughes from our board has joined us from the Department of Business, Enterprise and Innovation, and I'd like to acknowledge the support from Declan and the department in terms of helping us to help you in order to address your needs. He does an awful lot of work in the background to make sure that we can operate the way we need to operate. So thank you very much to Declan and the department. So at that, I'm going to hand back over to Jonathan. Thank you very much.